Is this behind me here now the best luxury car in the world? Is it actually even better than the BMW 7 Series or a Mercedes S-Class? Maybe even more luxurious than an S-Class Maybach? We're going to find out here with the Nio ET9. This is the flagship of the Chinese automotive industry, and I can guarantee you that everyone will watch this video here in full length. Car enthusiasts and also car managers, politicians, and everyone who is interested not only in the Chinese automotive industry, but also the comparison between what the Germans can do and what this car is now able to do with all of its features. It will be super interesting, I can promise that to you. I'm Thomas, this is Autogefuehl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with our tour of the Nio ET9, and we can see it's a very clean look in the front. This is here a 60-hour polished ceramic blue paint. Yeah, and that's why I'm also wearing my Thomas Blue outfit here. Of course, also in full length. Really slim daytime running lights and the main headlamp unit that is split and sitting underneath. This is also a matrix LED with a pixel function, so it can also project some light carpet on the road to communicate with the outside world. So a similar system, for example, used with Mercedes and Audi. You can have like a line showing you where your lane is actually, or for example, also signalizing that pedestrians can cross, or for example like that. So things like this, the communication with the outside world is picking up more and more. And one very cool feature I can always show it to you right now. So it's the first time we can actually see that we can open the frunk, either with the voice activation from the outside or also here with the key, and it's an electric power frunk. Look at that here. And that's a practical solution because you don't have to double unlock it. You can close it here with a button again or just hold it here on the key fob. And then it's closing again. It's the same mechanism that we see on classic trunks, actually. And yeah, very nice solution indeed. So this Nomi voice assistant that is built in the Nio vehicles is also working now when you approach it, like, let's say, from the outside and talk to the car. In the side profile, the length is 5.32 m or 209 inches. And that means a little bit shorter than the BMW 7 Series, but exactly this segment here. But it also has some technologies that we know, for example, from the little bit shorter Porsche Panamera, but even in a different way, because you maybe see that the standard height here is relatively high on that vehicle. And it has a hydraulic system that each wheel can be controlled individually. And that's a very interesting one, definitely. One glimpse already here. When I open the door, I go away. Here the sensors detect me, and then now it's opening properly. So one quick look already at the interior, soon more to that, of course, in depth to the interior. But back to the suspension system, the funny thing there is that the system we know from the Porsche Panamera, the Audi e-tron GT facelift and the Porsche Taycan facelift, it actually has an entry help that when I open the door, the car goes up, close the door, car goes down for European users. Here it's the other way around. Like this one is the standard height, actually, it's high. And this is when you close the vehicle. And when you open the vehicle, then it goes down. That Chinese customers get in easier. And that has more to do like with the standard body height. That's a very interesting feature. So I would probably guess that when we get this car here in Europe, maybe in 2026, then it will be probably the other way around again. At least they could program that with the software. And now you might say, like, yeah, Porsche has already presented that. So Nio has explained to me that the difference is that their system here can work on 40 Hertz, whereas the Porsche system only on 15 Hertz. So this one here reacts faster to what's happening underneath and on the ground. And the key is, or the goal is, to keep the car level at any time. So the wheels move underneath. We also know like the old Citroën hydraulic suspension and so on. And like everything stays upright here, the wheels work underneath. So that's like the main character of it. And here, supposed to work even quicker than in the Porsche Panamera or in the Porsche Taycan. And also here, because the hydraulic pumps are built in the dampers inside, whereas with the Porsche system, they're like, separately next to it. That was their explanation to it. Here, this is the suspension demo where you can have this view of the vehicle. And now we also feel in the vehicle how the car is doing exactly what we see then here. And there's also the difference where the car would either be shaking with the standard suspension, and here the wheels are working underneath. We have a simulation what the car would do with or without the system. These are the famous Chinese speed bumps here, transverse bumps in the roads. and now the whole car is shaking. I really feel it. And now we're going over these bumps, and we just feel a little bump, what we like feel on our body, because the suspension is evening it out. So this is like a live action demo of what the suspension can do. You can feel it in the car. Here the rear wing, it can actually be retracted, goes up and down. When it's up, it also says blue sky is coming. This is like their slogan, because their founder once saw like the polluted sky in China and then wanted a clear sky with even more electric vehicles. That's the whole philosophy. Very clean design here. Also in rear light strip goes all the way through. This is, by the way, then here a thing like Nio in the Chinese lettering. So overall, it works with a very clean design. You see this fastback rear. But the interesting thing is that it is not a fastback from the trunk opening. So if I open the trunk right here, you can see that from the exterior, it is a fastback. But from here, from the inside of the trunk, it is just basically a normal trunk, which is not that large. Actually, I can soon also deliver you some measurements. And the reason for that is actually that they want to keep the NVH low. So when you have a sealed off trunk, it doesn't, not so much heat comes in the car when it's really hot in summertime, and also the whole interior cabin is more silent. That's, for example, also done in other luxury vehicles. For example, also like, you know, Bentley does that a lot, and Rolls-Royce, that they really seal off the trunk, that it's getting even more silent on the interior. As for the battery sizes, taking the net figures is 95 kilowatt hours or 112 kilowatt hours. And you have a charging peak of 600 kilowatt DC for the big battery. It's like a little bit more than half for the smaller battery. Yes, but it's like just like a very short 600 kilowatt peak. Very impressive figure, but important more is like what's the 10 to 80% figure for the state of charge. And that is about 15 minutes then for the big battery, and about a little bit less than 20 minutes for the small battery. So both is really quick. And the alternative for Nio would of course always be to use their battery swap. They have these swap stations, and then you can swap the battery in about 4 minutes. This is also the reason why you can buy this car here with and also without battery. And on the Chinese market, this will be sold at about 100,000 euros, like if you translate that into yuan. And even 87,000 euros if you go without the battery, plus then like a monthly battery lease. It will not come at that price at the European market, that's for certain, because also now like the new tariffs have been introduced and so on. But we have to see about that. Of course, this information is not out yet at this point. More facts: all-wheel drive, one electric motor in the rear, one in the front. 4.3 seconds is the acceleration figure from this all-wheel drive electric vehicle. 700 horsepower is the power output, and it also features a rear axle steering, and that reduces the turning circle to 10.9 meters. So for such a long luxury sedan, that's very small, very narrow. So the rear wheels then turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels. The like this really fast charging, by the way, is possible due to a 925 volt architecture. So that's very impressive. The battery chemistry, by the way, is NMC. So these are all the facts. Let's now check out the interior in depth. The car key also has a ceramic coating. And then here, the door handles are either flush or like that. They then come towards me. And then I press it here, and then the doors are opening. So when I move away, dual lamination for the windows here, both in the front and in the rear. I can already tell you so far. And inside of the doors, everything is wrapped. And it depends on the material. Here also on the inside, this is, I mean, it's rather hard, but it is covered somewhere. This is also a very clean solution here, for example, for the window levers, like here, for all the fours. And here you can also close the door again. And we also have a nice illuminated entry seal badge. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty nice. High floor mat here, look at that. Also reminds us like of a Rolls-Royce style. Really tiny steering wheel and flat buttons, and this is steer-by-wire. It has no mechanical link at all. It has electric backup systems, and that's the reason that you don't have to steer that much. So like when you go like half away, this is the full turning of the wheels. And they also use that for the electronic parking system, the self-parking function. So the reason for that is then that when you have this autonomous parking, that goes like, not like this, but it only turns like 10 degrees. And actually they said they could have also made it just stationary because it's steer-by-wire, so it doesn't have to do it. So the steering wheel could stay like this, and the wheels turn all the way for the autonomous parking. But they said like they want to give like some feedback to the customer that the car is doing something, but it doesn't like really need to go all the way around here and there. It's interesting. Most of the things you will see here with this vehicle are actually already standard. Even the suspension is also standard. The colors, of course, you can pick these, and the wheels, they are an option because here these are the 23-inch wheels, both forged, but the base ones would be 22-inch. And this then the option, so you can, yeah, this is the one you can select, everything else is basically standard. And also with that suspension, if you have like a collision with a truck, for example, which has like a very, high impact area, then the car will also race in 0.7 seconds. And this is actually delivering a better protection against the truck then, because it actually hires the vehicle, and the really rigid, stiff areas of the vehicle are better than like in a better position in the impact against the truck. Also very interesting. Oh, there's Nomi. Yeah, you can actually get it with or without Nomi.
That's Chinese Nomi today.
Yeah, this is a Chinese Nomi today, but you can have it with the visual Nomi, but you can also go without it if you don't like it. Seats in this vehicle here, sadly animal skin only, at least main parts of it, so the middle part, and then for example the outside not again, and the dashboard is for example then leather red, so you cannot see the difference which is which, you just have to know that. So meanwhile the technology is that far that the high grade leather red is the better material, and you cannot really differentiate what is what, you just have to know what is what. And Nio also offers animal-free interiors like a wide scale. All the cars in Europe are animal-free actually, and in China they also have a high take rate for the base leather red versions. It's just that here they have a different decision being made, and that's, yeah, it's just like out of tradition basically, because some don't know yet of the potential of the high-grade leather materials. So I hope that they will also offer animal-free versions then for this car here in the future, or maybe when it comes to the European market. Then here the headroom with 1A9, 6 for 2. It's actually quite a lot. So it looks like sedan, but the seating position is also quite high because of the suspension. So it almost feels a little bit crossover-alike. And here we have a lot of nice microfiber covering already here, for example, at the A-pillar from the inside. In Thomas Blue as well. So that is nicely done. Look at that quality here also with the light in the mirror and so on, more microfiber. And then you have this panoramic roof and you have it split. And this is not necessary. So this is a design thing. It wouldn't have been needed like for rigidity reasons or something like that. But they wanted this split here from left to right and also from front to back area. And of course we'll explore the back area even further very soon. Yeah, and the position here with the steering wheel, you can of course adjust it here in the infotainment system. It feels really futuristic, and it's like the use case is that you look over it because you have this screen on top part. Yeah, you maybe remember the BMW Neue Klasse concept that also looks similar. Here, this is like the instrument, speed and so on. It's a nice integration. We have one screen here, another one on the passenger side, zoom more to that, and then of course the really large central screen. And this here is, by the way, 5K resolution, and the central screen is 3K resolution. So they really went also all the way out, also with a hardware chip on the inside and so on. So driver POV here, you can once again see how small the steering wheel is in height actually. Here, these are buttons, you can press it in, but it's like one field. Here on the right side, and also, for example, to put the steering wheel higher and lower when you are in that mode, for example. Yeah, and the steering wheel itself is really, really light. And here you can also see like the quality of video and so on of that. Yeah, and Nomi is already showing us the moves here. Aww. And it's more silent than before, actually, like the electric motor. Before that, when it turned, you could hear like zzz, zzz, but now it's more silent. But again, you don't have to pick Nomi. You can also go for like a non-visual assistant. And this is here the head-up display, which can even show video feed actually, and also some GPS guidance. By the way, here you can switch between a real mirror and also the digital mirror. Yeah, and here we go with the front cockpit. Here you can also see the passenger side of this front instrument cluster, so to speak, and everything really crisp from the quality that you see on the screen and so on. Then this really large middle console. There you can see this here, the cover of the cup holders also goes in and out like this, like real wood and so on. Really smooth, so it reminds you also of a Bentley build quality. inductive charging, also with a ventilation. You can see the ventilation holes here, and then inductive charging for the smartphones. Here in the front, by the way, you have like a cover here for the sunglasses. Yeah, you can obviously also remove that. Interesting. So yeah, maybe if you want to leave that open all the time, for example, like this, I mean, why not? And like also like the whole handcrafted things and so on. So the build quality is extremely high. Switchgear, by the way, is here at the steering wheel. Here, but it's like a thing when I use the brake pedal, then it automatically goes to the seating driving position. Here, there's like the switchgear, classic one, and left side also classic indicator and so on. And then to control the seats, I can do that actually normally at the side of the seat, so that is good. Also, for example, the lumbar support is always like really pronounced, even in the back base position. They tend to use a lot of lumbar support on the Chinese market. And the steering wheel is then set here once again in the infotainment system. The English version will also come very soon. And they also have even more special feature like a 5D cinema. And yeah, we can show that to you very soon. But of course, even more important here is what's going on in the rear. So now the rear luxury position. First of all, you can apply these hardcover shades here individually, left and right, all the way through. But I'm gonna stop them now, otherwise it gets too dark in here actually. And then you have a lot of luxury features here. For example, there's like more space for a pen and so on. Here is another cubby hole. So this is just like the very beginning of all the luxury experience. First of all, the legroom to the front driver's seat. Here a lot of legroom. You can see here as I'm normally sitting. And why would I begin behind the driver's seat? Because you can even apply the so-called boss position for this side. And you might say, like, how is this possible? So in China, it's often the case that people have like a work conference in the vehicle and so on, or maybe like the apartment is small, and then say, like, hey, I have like another room in the vehicle which is parking like maybe in the basement garage and so on. And then you can have both sides actually move to the executive position, and yeah, this makes sense then to do it that way. It's of course not that long as on the passenger side, but here you can see even like the foot stuff is going out. And here now with one A9 6'2", I can already fit here. Yeah, maybe with the feet it's a little bit close. Let's see how it gets then on the other side here. But yeah, I've never seen it here on the like behind the driver's side here actually. And then quickly before we get to the other side, here we have more functions to the USB-C chargers and also this exclusive table. Wow. Yeah, this is really cool, and it also has many different functions. So this then for this side, and either you can have it here as a like makeup mirror. Then you can also see Leah. Yeah. Here we go. So although also you do it like this, then you have the proper table right here. And when you get out of the car, you can just you know, like get out like this, for example, move it to the side, so you don't always have to like deinstall it completely. And yeah, that might also save some time. And yeah, also how like the whole mechanism here is really high class. Here you have another screen actually where you can control stuff from the rear. And you have more cup holders also with adaptive function. And then you can see once again this split here. And in the lower part, there's either more space. And from the small tablet, I can push a button. Then we have the fridge in here, which is pretty large. And yeah, you can even up, I think, -2 degrees. So that works. Or you can also warm beverages, which is also quite common in China, by the way. So this is like I would say the second boss position here behind the driver. But now what about the first boss position? Here, by the way, also additional cushions here for the lower part and so on. Isofix would also be possible, of course. Now the question is, yeah, I've already taken off my shoes, and the car is a living room, so I can also move around in my living room. Here's the high floor mat here, and then you can see one more time, this is the standard setup, and then I push one more time here on the boss button. Let's see how far that one goes then. And I mean, yeah, look at that, this dual setup here. This is really crazy. And then this one goes up here, even for my feet. And let's see if there is really a length difference. So, okay, that's interesting. So this one then goes higher a little bit. You see here the difference there between the the front seats each. And this one is really like the one thing that I need. So now actually I can completely stretch my legs. In the S-Class, you don't have so much length in space. Even in the S-Class Maybach, I sometimes struggle a little bit, although that's longer wheelbase. It has to do with the seat also, how it turns. In the BMW 7 Series, I can also totally stretch my legs. In the Audi A8L, it works as well. I'm not sure. We probably have to go back to the 7 Series video to see if I have more space there. But yeah, definitely good space here, and I can totally relax. Or then have maybe a chat with my business partner, or maybe a chat with Leah when she joins me then here. So yeah, that should fit for Leah, like, you know, lengthwise. So why don't we try that out? Well, now Leah has joined us here, or me, and she can also show you how to open and close the door from the rear. So there we go. You press on top there, and yeah, this is then our dual work setup here, or dual snuggle setup. Yeah, I think we've never seen that here in that kind of way, right? So
it's nice, yeah.
That's really cozy. I always like simple controlling here of the shades, by the way. And here also they go electronically up and down.
Inside.
Oh, inside as well?
Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. And you just have to press here the window lever, so this is to lower the window, and then one more time. So not everything has to go in the screen. That's pretty cool, actually. And by the way, Leah can also play the Queen for a second, because you maybe see it also from the inside. Here, this last pillar, this has like this additional length right here. And the reason is, we now switch the camera and Leah plays the Royal Queen. So there it is. So Leah sits here and no one can see who she is. And then, like, when the paparazzis are, you know, getting the photographs and so on, there we go. So in the moment the door is opening, the paparazzi cannot see that Leah is in there. So the view is blocked, and only if Leah wants to be seen, then she can move forward and say, yeah, I want to be seen as well. And now welcome to the 5D cinema. You can already see it's shaking. Now the AC is coming, and you could also use 3D glasses. That will also be possible. And then like 4D for the vents. You can maybe hear the vents coming. And the fifth dimension then is that the car is shaking with this adaptive suspension then. And we are watching now here like a Mario movie. I have blurred a little bit that we don't get any copyright issues here for the camera. But there's a Mario movie here. And then depending on what happens, now they get, for example, into this cart here. And like here, the car is reacting to that. You know, like here's like an action scene, and now we're like shaking in the car. And you can already see from the outside that the car is moving. So this is a very immersive experience then, when you know that you're actually feeling that. And yeah, you don't need a 5D cinema for that. You can just be here in the Nio ET9. This is definitely a very crazy thing to do. So I'm not sure if you maybe get sick after a while when it shakes too much. We had that in the Porsche Panamera, for example, when we had like the demo on that, or the Audi e-tron GT facelift. But it's definitely a fun thing, and I mean, Chinese customers will probably love that, because they spend a lot of time in their car, also stationary, and then this additional form of entertainment. You can be here, everyone can be fully packed in the vehicle, and then you have like more action scenes, and yeah, the car just reacts to that. You always, when there's action happening, everyone is shaking here. So yeah, that's really, really funny. By the way, here on the top, this is the LIDAR, the laser sensor in the middle part, and on the outside, even more cameras, of course, different sensors here all around this vehicle. They prepare it already for level 3 autonomous driving. At the moment, only level 2 plus is allowed on the Chinese market, so you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. But at the same time, it already has like a extended functionality that can drive on its own, even in the city. I've been also testing that one, for example, recently with Nio ES6 or EL6 and the Onvo L60. I can also show or link that video for you as well. Then you can have a glimpse of that. But they already prepare it to a stage when, yeah, there's a different regulation and so on. And this is, of course, in here like the most sophisticated iteration of these systems they offer so far. Where we take a look here at the turning indicators, first in the front, soon in the rear. Let me also talk in general about like what we can expect from this vehicle, and also maybe with the European market and so on. So if you think at the, think about the exterior first, I think it works very well. It almost looks like a pumped up Porsche Panamera, especially here with this standard riding height. If you drive faster, it can also, of course, go lower, but you have to think about that, especially for Chinese roads. You have like, say, like 2 main obstacles. First of all, you always have like this really like tiny speed humps, even in basement garages. They are like the basement garages are full of these speed humps, and so it's good to have a comfortable suspension then for that respect. That also leads to that, for example, when some Chinese cars, like say recently like the BYD CLU, are taken to European roads, they kind of be like, you know, not stable enough at higher speeds, for example, because they're designed for the for these bumps then here on the Chinese roads. But then this suspension can actually do both, hold the car stable and be comfortable at the very same time. And the second challenge is when you drive over like a bridge, you know, which is like really like has a strong curve. Some cars with very soft suspension try to get imbalanced, and that's also a thing that will not happen with this suspension then. So these are like two main challenges. In the rear here, the turning indicators, you can see also slim, really wide integration that you can already see them here from the side profile. And yeah, I think exterior-wise it works very well, especially with this very elegant profile. The sealed-off trunk is good, of course, against burglary and also better for the NVH. Then again, worse if you think about trunk flexibility, loading in and out stuff in an easier way. So for family use, it will be a little bit worse, but better than for this executive use. The one thing you see on the interior is a very high build quality. At the same time, a lot of flexibility as for these boss positions on both sides, so you can literally live in the vehicle. The weight is at 2.7 tons with all the technology inside and also with a large battery, but is similar like with the electric versions of the German luxury sedans. But it's very clear that with this offering here, by the way, the rear screens, they are also one of the options, but everything else basically is standard. And then it will be very exciting at which price it will be offered on the European market and see what they then can do against the German luxury brands with this vehicle here. For this market, it's already quite clear that there's not much incentive actually for the Chinese customer to go for German Audi, BMW, Mercedes for their luxury sedans, because this one will be cheaper here on this market. It will have a quicker infotainment system and also more infotainment features. So definitely more suitable for the Chinese customer at a better price. So this is a huge problem then for the German premium manufacturers. And also, of course, for the other luxury manufacturers, because this car here is actually trying to be like in both segments at the very same time. So the profitability for the classic manufacturers will go down in China. It already has. And it's kind of like a big sign for the whole industry that at the day where VW announced 35,000 job cuts overall worldwide, here the ET9 from Nio was introduced at the Nio Day. With a huge show and everything and with all the peak features. So this may be only a glimpse of what's to come, unless, of course, the German manufacturers can react on this. What do you think? And also join us for more luxury car content.